Yeah. And then I met Alecia and other folks like us as well, who really value our career as well as our hobbies. And we're trying to make the most of both, which I really appreciate about you.
Definitely, yes. We definitely like encourage each other and like, I don't know, if either of us comes out with a new design or something, I don't know, hype each other up. Be like, oh my God, I think we had probably just both really liked each other's products also right off the bat and just been like, oh my God, like your pin is so cute. Which like someone saying your product is adorable. It's like, of course we're gonna like, I'm gonna like you. Like that's a great way to start a conversation. Right?
Welcome to another edition of Art of the Bay Sessions. Today we are joined by two special guests, Alecia from Lulu Bean Bouquets.
Boutiques.
Boutiques! I already messed up. All right, from Lulu Bean Boutiques. There we go.
It's a long name.
And Jasmine from Rain and Jazz, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, see, we're already starting off to a fun start. Well, thank you so much for the two of you joining us. I know this was like the weather and everything, especially like all of a sudden, I swear last week it was just nice and sunny and now it just got super windy. So.
And it's meant to snow or something tomorrow, like in the hills at least.
I would not be shocked at this point. Everything, it seems like the Bay Area has just been getting everything the last few months. So yeah.
We're warm inside.
So.
Yeah,
cozy spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, how are the two of you doing? How are things been going recently?
Yeah, things have been going all right with me, with my day job and then doing my shop at night. And it's funny because I met with a friend the other week and she had asked, oh, what are your hobbies like after work? And I said, my shop, my second job. And she's like, isn't that your other work? And I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding. It's very fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely feel that also. That's pretty much my hobbies. It's like my cat, and which Bean is wonderful as ever. Very playful. He tried to catch a bug today. Great entertainment. He was standing like really high up against the wall. I was like, please don't fall. He's a bit on the heftier side, so he didn't fall though. But yeah, I was sick last week, but recovered from that. Went to Yosemite the other weekend. Kind of just been, work's been pretty good. Main job and doing art on the side. So some new things coming to the shop soon that I'm excited about.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it seems like we all kind of took a little bit of the break with the holidays, so hopefully that was a good reset for everybody at that point.
Definitely.
Awesome. So we usually start the podcast by just kind of getting to know a little bit more about your backgrounds and everything. What would you say are, if you can give a brief description of like how of either your career or like your art career, just an overall recap?
Yeah, my career, it's funny because I had gotten an undergraduate degree in biology.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fun fact, I was a bio girl, and then thankfully I did an internship and realized that I didn't really like the lab setting. I was definitely more of a interactive person who likes to talk to other people, collaborate. So thankfully, I was able to transfer into marketing. So then I was in biotech marketing and learned about different marketing aspects and different pointers as well. Got to learn a little bit about analytics as well, which brought me into my current and previous companies, which are tech companies. And I really didn't expect to switch industries so early on in my career, but definitely applying a lot of the marketing skills that I've learned from my job to my small business, which has been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot on most days, kind of stressful. But in the end, I do take those things that I learned and I kind of realized like, oh, this might be applicable to my shop. Or this is like what these numbers mean and such. So, and as for my art background, actually, I did not take any art classes.
Oh, interesting.
I learned everything from trial and error, YouTube videos, getting advice from other artists as well. Right. And when I was a kid, I liked to draw a lot. I painted on index cards.
Oh, nice.
I still have them. Yeah, my mom loves them. And then I think, of course, like as you go through college and your career, you kind of drop those hobbies. And 2020 happened, and then I brought those skills back, and people liked it, and I thought, hey, let's make something of it. And that's how Arena and Jazz was born.
Nice.
When you were studying for your biology test, would you like draw a lot of like cute little things?
Yeah, exactly.
Like make your notes all colorful.
I would doodle, I had a bunch of markers and pens. I was one of those.
Oh, nice.
People.
Yeah.
Still am.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Yeah.
And how about yourself?
Yeah, so I actually also work in tech, but I studied electrical engineering and I got a job in that out of college.
Nice.
Very different.
Yeah.
The craft stuff. I was kind of always growing up, definitely the math science nerd and math team, science Olympiad.
Yeah.
That's what my extracurriculars were. But I kind of like Jasmine you drop a lot of your hobbies during college, you're busy. It was a pretty intensive degree. So, you're kind of just studying the whole time and whatever else, and then trying to see some friends. But then during COVID, started working from home instead of the office, and realized I could take meetings while crocheting.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That's smart. Yeah.
We would be off camera a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think a lot of us found it. I was talking to people at work about this. So this isn't a huge secret that I do this.
Sorry, boss.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like you'll be in a meeting and you're like checking your email and everything else during, so you're not actually focusing during your meeting. Versus if you're crocheting, you have to pay attention because you're not doing other stuff with your hands. So it's like, now I have to listen. So which growing up, I don't think I really did crocheting at all. I kind of just learned on YouTube. I knew a little bit, I think, from my sister and my mom, but I don't know, like how to make a square.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, I kind of jumped into that and baking, but then at some point I was like, I don't know, I need something to sink myself into outside of work. I really enjoy the crocheting and hobbies. And then I got my cat and I have an iPad, so I'm kind of just doodle on there.
Combine everything there.
That was the thing. I couldn't choose one hobby, so you'll see my shop. It's a mix of photography because I've always loved photography, nature photography especially. I would never want to take pictures of people. I just wanted to take pictures. Like we'd be on a family vacation and there'd be like 500 photos of a whale, and my family would be like, "There's no photos of us." I'm like, "I see you guys often. How often do I see a whale?" And crochet stuff. So like crochet cactus. I make beanies. I have like a little bean tag on it that has the cat on it to kind of bring them together. And then of course all my cat cards, stickers, etc., all based on bean. Yeah. So definitely I will say I do appreciate that my mom always pushed us to be crafty when we were younger.
That's cool.
Don't come from an overly artistic family, but my sister always really liked painting, and I got to take some different art classes in school.
Nice.
It's funny because in high school, I wanted to do a lot of APs and math and science, but my mom she actually forced me to take an art class every semester, which I ended up, I loved them, but she's like, great. You can't only be studying, you can't only be doing serious stuff, or not serious, but like you gotta have some creativity in there, some room for fun. So I got to do a photography class, I got to do a Photoshop class, forgot a lot of that by now, but like a mixed media textile design class where we got to do airbrushing, screen printing. Really awesome classes. Kind of dropped all that in college, but I really appreciated doing that in high school. And my mom kind of just always leaned us into doing arts and crafts at home. And I guess that stuck with me. So now both my sister and I are kind of encouraging each other to get back into everything. Because she also fell out of it and now she's doing paintings and we're kind of sharing our art with each other.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's why I was wondering, like, if there was anything that you would do artistically or creatively during like college or before college, just to kind of see whether if it was for like a break or just like to get away from work for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like we said earlier, it's like our creative outlet.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and then like working, the full 8 hours on one specific thing. A lot of numbers. I'm assuming for you as well. Numbers and just computer screens. It's nice to take your eyes off of that.
Oh, right.
And then I would like paint or draw and see things with colors for once.
That's the same for me. It's pretty much, it's funny because electrical engineering, I'm like, oh, it's not computer engineering.
Right.
I won't be in front of a computer all day.
Right.
You're still pretty much in front of me. Like, sometimes you're in the lab soldering, doing whatever, but like you're still in front of a computer most of the time. And I kind of like you also, I actually prefer the people side of it, not so much the technical nitty gritty side. So I'm trying to move into management side of things.
I see.
But I just don't feel like I get quite the creative outlet I would want at work. So that's why after work, I'm like, okay, time to crochet, time to do some cat art, do a bit of that and kind of unwind for the day, be away from screens. Other than iPad drawing.
For sure.
Yeah, that's when I crochet.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think you brought it up earlier when you said that you were able to integrate a lot of those skills over into what you're doing now. I think that's always the cool thing about hearing that from folks who don't go to like a traditional like art school or anything like that. That kind of bring different skill set and then apply them to what they're doing now.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was perfect. Like, I think that you kind of made the perfect transition where I wanted to start asking. Because, this season we were going to try to speak with more folks who are involved, like either in like the vendor market pop-up space. So we definitely wanted to hear more of those stories from folks. I guess maybe a two-part question. I'm trying to think. When did you start going to these events, and also do you remember what your first show was?
Oh yeah,
I do.
I do.
I had started last year January, so pretty fresh.
Wow.
And I had only started my Etsy and my shop 2 months before that in November. So mine was a pretty recent business. But last year it was Silicon Valley pop-up, down in San Jose, indoors because it was cold, and I was up on the second floor and. I remember being nervous for it because it was my first one, and I'm like, I don't really know anyone. But then I ended up being a few booths down from one of my close friends now, Maddie Tibby Bean. She makes really adorable like little clay frogs and other like figurines that are just adorable.
Yeah.
And I had recognized her because we just had become friends on Instagram. I don't know, like a lot of you become friends on Instagram first, then you run into each other in person, which is really cool. Yeah. So she was a few down, so we ended up kind of just like chatting at that and kind of like watching each other's stuff if needed during that, and kind of just someone to go check in with and say hi. Yeah. And by no means was it a great sales day. It was decent. I had mainly crochet stuff and a few bean things. I think I had sold like $60 my first day, which I'm like, I was just happy I sold anything. Exactly. My goal was basically, okay, let's make a sale and like have a fun day, and got to meet some really cool people.
Exactly,
also, I have cat stuff. So anyone that's a cat person comes up and is like, oh my gosh, like I'm a cat person. Like I love your stuff. Yeah. Or just excited about the crochet stuff. So it was definitely a good enough experience that I was like, okay, I want to keep coming back and doing this. I did a ton of events throughout the year, probably too many. And this year I'm trying to scale back because working 40 hours a week and then having that take up the weekends and preparing for it. And it's like you drive there, you get there an hour or 2 hours early before the event, set up your table, set up everything, have like 5 hours of event or something. And then you have to set down and then get home and you're exhausted by then. It's
and that's half your weekend.
Exactly.
And then you have to do errands, but you also want to see friends and do fun stuff. Right. Because I was doing like at least like 2 or 3 a month, which was a lot.
Wow.
So I'm trying to do a lot less this year. I'm focusing on like one bigger event each month now. Yeah. But I still want to keep doing it because I love the in-person aspect. You get to meet really awesome other vendors, see vendor friends that you might be at the same event, and also just meeting complete strangers. Like the amount of like 10 to 15 minute conversations I'll just strike up with someone who's like buying something, but they'll just start talking about their pet and showing me pictures of their cat that looks like mine, or talking about like they started to try crocheting, and I'll kind of try to give them some hints. I'm like, oh yeah, like I watched this YouTube and it's really helpful. Yeah.
The connections.
Just really awesome connections. Yeah. And I'm very much a socialite, need to talk to people. So that's what I figure. I'm like, okay, I don't talk to a ton of people necessarily through the week, but I'm like on the weekend day at the pop-up, it's like, okay, we're going to burn my social battery out and just talk to like 6 hours worth of people. Yeah.
Right.
But definitely a lot of them were really cool. Some of them, it was definitely like, some of them are going to be a bummer because I mean, a lot of it is kind of a guessing game at some point for especially smaller events, and then figuring out where your audience is best. Like I found certain locations across the Bay I'll do a lot better at than others just because of crowd and because of my products. Yeah. And so a lot of it was just kind of a guessing game of trying a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
But even at some that might have gone poorly, I'm like, okay, if I got to talk to some cool vendors, like there was ones where I barely sold anything, but got to meet some really cool people.
Yeah,
so I'm like, that was still a win for me because I'm like, it's still a fun day.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have neither, then it's kind of like, well, that was a bit of a waste of my time. And then you're like, okay, let's rethink for the future on choosing better. So it's kind of definitely a big learning experience of just how to make your table look better. And then you get to see other people's setups and see what they do. More things to add to your table, how to make it more effective, what events are worth going to. Like, some of them are expensive. So do you go to the cheaper ones or do you go the more expensive and do fewer? Kind of, which we all compare notes also, which is awesome having the community to kind of be like, oh, which ones are you going to? Or like, how'd you do
or like
this
feedback from different events as well. And I think she covered a lot of points that I covered as well. I had started, I opened my shop also not too recently from her as well. So in like October of 2020. Actually, a year before you. Now that I think about it. October
the
2020.
time always kind of,
the whole time. Did that even count?
Time?
Yeah, it's just
was that even time?
The COVID time just mushed together. I had officially opened my shop October of 2020.
Oh, okay.
And then I had just, I was just starting off. I didn't really have any packaging plan. And then I made this sticker sheet, and it was a work from home themed one. And then lo and behold, BuzzFeed got a hold of it and featured it in one of their work from home themed articles. And that was like super awesome. I remember I had the notifications on Etsy. And my phone started blowing up, and I'm like, is it broken? What's going on? And then I did some research, and using my marketing background, I searched up like my name on Google search and like what's like associated right now. And then I saw like the BuzzFeed keyword as well.
That's interesting. They didn't even tell you.
They didn't tell you.
You think they would have reached out?
I thought they would have, but since it's public, that's what I assumed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So then I realized that I had like a lot of orders, and I remember not having any packaging at first. So I used like those really pretty construction papers you would see at Michael's. I had some on hand, and I would use that to wrap. Like,
perfect.
I had no branded things yet. I was just starting off, but the people, they seem to really like it. They're really nice about it too. And then that's when I realized like, hey, maybe this could be something more. So then I did that. I was doing my shop online for about a year or so. So then in November of 2021, that's when I thought, okay, like I think an in-person event would be good to get exposure. So my very first one was at the Berryessa flea market. The pop-up, I believe.
Right.
And it was a holiday one, and it was interesting.
I've been to I forget they did like a Filipino theme a couple of months ago, and I went to that one. But it's definitely an interesting like setting and everything.
Granted, I'm sure the program is good. I've only done that one event, but I think the timing was not good because it was the holiday, but it was raining, windy.
Oh no!
It was outdoors as well. That's my very first time, like things were kind of like flying, and I was like, "Oh man, this is kind of miserable."
With paper products, especially,
it's very hard.
Sucks.
It's very hard. But then I realized, like, okay, like now I know that check the weather first if you do an outdoor event. And then that's when I started doing more indoor events. And thankfully, I did meet some great folks at that first event I did. They recommended me the SGMA events, and I did their first event in, I believe, March of last year. And it went great. The community was definitely my type of audience.
Right.
And the items I made, people really like became accustomed to it. People like, pointed and said, oh, like, it's really funny. And wedding season was definitely ramping up because COVID was like alleviating a little bit. So then the wedding cards did very well.
Oh, nice.
People really liked my avocado stickers. That was great as well. And then I think that from that event, that's when I realized like, oh, like my neighbors are really cool. The people who come to these events, they're really cool as well. And then following those events, again, the whole year of 2021 and 2022, or 2022, my mistake. I did a lot of events similar to Alecia, where I just I looked up some different events that other artists that I looked up to had been to. I applied to them and then either like got in or waitlisted. I tried them out. Some were winners, some were not so great. And because of that, I knew that, okay, next year I'm going to do those good events.
Yeah.
Or maybe like, okay, in this location, they like more of these kinds of products,
Right.
cat things, or they like wedding kind of things versus some other items as well.
Yeah.
So that's when I learned, to like make note of what you do for every event, what's sold well, and see how much, I guess like profit is one thing, but my goal for each event is reach. So just exposing your business to new people. To new people and having them follow along as well. And I also noticed that for a lot of these events, you get a lot of the same people coming around as well. So then there was a group of friends who visited me in the March event. And the following May and August event I was at, they also were there too. And they were like, hey, were you at the March one? And I said, yeah, I was. How did you know? And they're like, oh, we recognize your logo. Which I was like, wow, it's a branding win for me. Yeah, and that was great to hear because, again, rerouting this back to my day job. I am a marketing operations manager at a tech company as well. And then I had learned that, branding's great. Having like original content that people find valuable is super valuable compared to just shoving them like ads or like, hey, buy my thing. So that's when I again, integrated what I learned from my job to my side business. And it's still a learning a lot to this day for the upcoming events in 2023. But yeah, taking note of what I learned last year and bringing them over to this year, along with the friends that I've made as well, which has definitely grown my business. And I think comparing from 2020, I had definitely, because of the in-person events and my strategy, I 4x'd my following on Instagram.
Awesome.
And I was really
it does help a ton. Because people will see you at events and then they'll follow you just to see what else you have in the future. Try to look at your website or whatever.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a great way to expand your business, the exposure, which I'll continue doing for this year.
And a lot of the vendors themselves, so many vendors will follow each other at the events and then we'll end up buying a ton of stuff from each other. I've had some in-person events that are cool where it's like a bunch of people will be down to do trades, which is awesome. I love trading with people. And just kind of being like, I love your stuff, and just super supportive community. I love going to some like monthly or repeat events where then you see some of the same people, and some of them that might be the only place I see them, and we're not necessarily seeing each other outside. Kind of like how work friends you might just see at work and not outside, but it's still a really cool community. It's like, I love that I can come here and know, I'm going to see these people.
No, it's totally the same thing when I've seen now where when people post like their Instagram stories that you see that, they go, what do they call it when they just buy a bunch of stuff and then they...
a haul.
They always post like the haul. They're like, just getting stuff from the community at that same show.
And then we'll all share each other's stuff. And I love how supportive where it's like, if you buy something from someone, we all kind of go online and show it off. Be like, look how cool this person, look at this awesome sticker I got from Jasmine. Let me show it on my water bottle.
And someone new might find out about you or your other vendor artist friend as well. And it's kind of cool sometimes because I have run into people, customers who are like, do you know this person? I've seen her at this event. And I'm like, I know her too.
I had a friend recently that actually, she makes gorgeous paintings and she actually got a commission because I had shared something on my page and someone else was like, oh my gosh, I love that, and reached out to her and got a commission done.
That's
She's like,
great.
Thanks so much for introducing us. I'm like, happy to. I want to share all these awesome artists.
That's awesome. I love exactly what you're saying, that just the community is just so welcoming and just supportive of each other at that point too.
Like what you see? Many of the studio items are made from local artists. Learn more about each artist in the episode description. Thanks again, and let's jump back into the episode.
Well, before we eat everything, because I'm craving all the snacks. I definitely wanted to get to both of your amazing works here.
Sure.
The thing we've been trying to ask folks now is just to kind of give more background for people who, are interested in kind of either starting up their own hobbies or start up their own like small businesses as well. What are some of the aspects when you go into like, for example, whether it's with your crochet or with your cards or any other designs, like how do you go about like the production process of it? Like when you first kind of like start and think of the idea and then throughout that whole sequence of actually like creating it up into its like into final form at that point. Yeah,
I think there are various steps and it differs between what type of product you're making.
Yeah.
In regards to my greeting cards, I would say that first you have to have your, of course, design in hand. In this case, I have the cat and dog and the pun, the friends forever.
Yeah.
I think something that people don't think about too often is also having a reference point as well. So in the back of the card, you have my logo and my name and website as well. And that just gives people a resource if they want to see more, or if they gift it to someone, they're able to see who made it, which is myself, and where they can find more designs like that.
Yeah.
So then once you have your design, you'd have to kind of source your materials as well. So in my case, I had to find out what kind of paper I wanted, how thick it was. And that requires some research. And by research, I mean like you could possibly go to a store and kind of see what the competitors are doing.
Right. Yeah.
And also
intense Googling.
And also the other side of it, a lot of intense Googling of, what's the best like paper quality or what you prefer as well, which is definitely something that I keep in mind, that I'm not only making this for other people, but this is a representation of me. So if I like it, I'd like to put it out to the world.
Yeah.
And of course, on a more monetary aspect of it, I do try to find, of course, the lowest cost item for the highest quality. So that does take a lot of research as well, kind of comparing and contrasting. Some couponing if you go that far, and I've done that too.
Or waiting for sales to happen.
Sacrifice your email to get some discount codes.
Yes, waiting for a sale coupons. Yeah, and then just sourcing those as well. And then, I would say other items I would think of are little details like the packaging. Do you want, for my item, do you want packaging that, the plastic sleeve, do you want it to fold over? Do you want it to be open? And also, how many of these are you going to purchase?
Yeah.
I think that's a big aspect that you got to keep in mind too, because you are going to change your design or your style over time. So I think it's important to not buy too many of a certain item or material when you're starting out, because you're still trying to test out what's working. Do people like this? Is this sustainable? And I also think it's very important to have different sourcers as well. For example, for the paper that I'm using, when I first started, I used a specific brand, and lo and behold, a year later, they're out of business. There's a shortage; they're out of business. And now I have to. I found another source as well, and if I had not had that second source while I was using the first one, there would have been like a halt in production. So make sure to have your ducks in a row and also some backups in case something like that does happen is what I would recommend.
That's very smart.
Yes.
Makes sense. Yeah, I guess I have kind of two sides to it. With the crochet stuff, I mean, I go to Michael's and buy an obscene amount of yarn because I love going to Michael's. A lot of it, I like to go in person most of the time for the yarn. I know a lot of people buy it online. I like to go in person so I can see the color and feel it.
Of course.
Because like for when I'm making the crochet tops or beanies, it's like if it's going against your skin, you want it to be comfy. Like Jasmine was saying, you time it with sales. And become a rewards member. Get your $10 vouchers or time it well. Or like try to get the clearance where it's like, I don't know, the beanies, I like doing a mix of colors. So I will see what bulky yarn is on sale that week and be like, we're going with mustard. Let's try some red out. Like, And I like having a variety of colors. I don't, pretty much for nothing I make, I don't want to just do a repeat of the same thing. I like that each of the crochet cactus are different. So for example, all the pots of these, there's kind of a funny story to that because I had thrifted I thrifted a bunch of different cute containers from Goodwill, whatever. And that was before I had decided to make the crochet cactus. And I was just like, like, I want to start selling something. I don't know what yet. My original plan was to make candles in these cute little thrifted containers. I was going to make candles. I know. To the point where I actually bought a decent amount of wax and all the stuff to make it, which is sitting unused in my kitchen right now. And I want to do it for just like a fun friends thing. So we should just get together and make candles.
Fun. If I may add, you should, what if you crochet a candle?
Oh. See, now we're getting ideas right here.
This is the benefit of having artists.
Right.
So to that point, though, what's funny is when I had gone to my first event before I started making these, or like just going to a few events, because I didn't introduce these until a few months in. Yeah. I saw so many candle vendors. Yeah. And I was like, yes. Okay. This is saturated, and everyone else, or not necessarily saturated, but I'm like, everyone else in business selling candles knows so much more of what they're doing than I do, and mine are not going to be nearly as good. So I'm like, let's pivot. I want to make something unique. I've never seen this before. Yeah. Where it's all the containers are unique, because I get them at thrift stores. And it's funny because I found in the kitchen section, there's a lot of, I'll find like full espresso sets at Goodwill, and I'm just like, this is awesome. Yeah. So a ton of them will be unique colors. They'll all be a little different. And then you literally kind of just like, I just crochet and stuff it, plop it in. But so those, and I love thrifting, so I kind of get to tie another hobby in with that. Cause I make an experience, because I would see all these really cute containers and things. It's like I don't really drink espresso. So I'm like, I need a justification to buy all these. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what could I do with that? I kind of ruled out candles, because I'm like, I'm not going to get good enough with that fast enough to be worth it. So I pivoted and was like, you know what? I feel like cactus would be cute in here. Yeah. And a ton of people went through a plant phase in COVID, realized they're not good at taking, a lot of people realize they're not good at taking care of plants. So I always joke at my pop-ups, I'm like, yeah, like, you don't have to water these. And like, I get a chuck a lot of people on that, because they're like, yeah, like, I don't know, it's such a cute little thing to have on your desk, or gift to someone, like, zero maintenance, just let it sit there and be cute. Yeah. So for that, it was not too much on the production side, just because it's those I don't ship and send to anyone. I pretty much just do those in the in-person events, or try to have them in little shops. Yeah. I want to add them to my website and learn how to package and ship them out without them breaking. Yeah. But haven't done that yet. But for the stickers and things, those, it's definitely, I try to wait for some sales. I look at a few different sticker companies and try out different ones. There's some, they'll have different quality. Some I find really hard to peel off. So it's kind of trial and error for some of them. Yeah. But I don't know, once I found two brands I like, I kind of wait to see when they'll have like a holographic sticker deal. And a lot of times I'll base the stickers I'm going to come off of like when they have that sale. Yeah. I'll be like, okay, we're going to make holographic stickers now. Let's try glitter. Like, why not? And it is one of those things that, like Jasmine was saying, it's like you don't want to commit to way too many, because you don't know if people are going to like it. Yeah. But the more you commit to, the cheaper it is to some degree, because bulk pricing is cheaper. So it's one of the it's a give and take situation. It's a give and take. So like sometimes there'll be deals where you don't have to get too many, and I like those, so I can kind of try out a product. Yeah. But then you'll have to restock them and be like, oh, like once I got down to a few, I'm like, oh shoot, like people actually really like this one. I got to buy more. And like luckily they still had it, or you could just reorder it easily. Yeah. But then for my cowboy ones, it was this one sticker company I really liked that never have sales, and they had a 20% off sale. So I'm like, okay, we're committing. I got like 5 different types of stickers. Yeah. The cowboy one, I hadn't debuted at all, but I was like, I feel like this is going to be popular. And the pride flag one. So I got 300 of them, which is a lot for being early on in my shop, because that was like months ago. And then luckily those were a hit. So like I still have definitely not had to restock any of those. That's awesome. Yeah. But those, it was kind of, I'll get different amounts of different stickers, which ones I think will be popular. Sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right, but it's just, and then for the packaging was another thing where I had the opportunity recently in December to January to actually have my stuff at a physical location in San Jose. Nice. And I'm actually trying to lean into that more this year, because like we were saying earlier, we're busy. Pop-ups take a lot of time and effort. So instead of doing multiple ones a month, I want to try to do one a month, and instead focus my efforts on having my stuff have a physical presence somewhere. Right. So there's this new cafe that just opened in Fremont that I'm excited to try to reach out to and see if I can have my stuff there, where it's you kind of pay for a shelf and they get a cut of the profits or something like that. Like a few galleries, a few different places do that. And I don't know, it kind of shows your presence. You're at a reputable place. People can walk in and see your stuff. But when I did that, I was like, oh, shoot, I need to package my stuff and have my branding on it.
Yeah.
So what's good is it kind of forced me within a week to figure out, like, okay, what's a way that I can put my branding on, like, and package my enamel pins? Because I didn't pay to get all the backing cards because they're kind of expensive and I wasn't sure, I don't know, I just hadn't committed to doing that yet. So I got my business card, kind of like stapled it on. It was a little janky, but it's still, I don't know, I had my branding on there. I made it look nice. I cut a bunch of card stock and made my own backing cards for the magnets, put them in little plastic sleeves, folded over. Have my little like a little handmade by Alecia, whatever, Lulu Bean Boutique on it with my Instagram. So what's good is it kind of forced me to figure out, okay, how can I put my branding on this? How can I make it so it could be in a shop and like be protected from the elements or stuff like that? Versus the pop-ups, it's kind of just lugging a lot of your stuff to and from. The crochet stuff, I just toss it all in a bag and bring my tote, which I love that I can do that. I can just toss it in a tote bag and bring it to and from. But not all items you can do that. And like Jasmine was saying, it's like you want to put your brand on there so that way if someone, I don't know, if it's a gift to someone and they see it and they really like it, it's like, oh, where can I find this stuff? And like that's time and money that goes into all of that for sure. And there's definitely a trade-off between time and money for a lot of these. For example, I know you were printing your card, or like I don't know if you. I think you're printing a lot of your cards. I outsourced my cards because I knew I was like, I didn't want to commit the time to printing my own cards and folding them and whatnot. So I paid a little more up front, but then I'm outsourcing them.
I did the same for my stickers. I was hand making those as well, but then it just got to the point where I was getting it was a lot of time to make them. The orders were coming in and I was like, it needs to be outsourced, which I am doing.
Popular.
It's getting to the point where for my cards as well, it's getting a bit out of hand too, where like I can't, even if when I do have some like people or employees helping me out, it just gets to the point where it's not worth the time anymore. So I'm starting to outsource them as well. And that's part of scaling your business too, because in the long term, I do want to have my own team and I just want to be on the operational side. As for production, I want to push that either to a team or outsource them as well. And again, like also when you, like Alecia said, when you start doing wholesale and in person, or not in person, but in store retailing, you do learn how to package things and you learn along the way what's the right way to brand something or the right way to package something. And then you learn this looks better, or maybe if I package it like this, like, oh, I notice I get more sales. So you do learn that along the way.
Which mine, I know, still has a ways to go by. It's like, it was enough to put it in there. I got some sales. I'm like, cool, this is effective to some degree. But yeah, definitely weighing your time versus money and realizing your time is money to some degree.
Well, I definitely want to be respectful of our time because, like, I know, like, we could probably keep going.
I can be here all night.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we want to. I want to make sure we get home at a reasonable hour and everything. So I definitely want to ask, like, before we headed out, what has been either one of your favorite projects, either collaboratively or as like solo? Like, it could be anything. Like, so I know that's a like pretty large scope right there.
Oh, I'm trying to think of my favorite one. There are a lot of little ones.
I kind of alluded to it earlier, but I guess I'll split it into two. For my cat bean stuff, I definitely am drawn to both the pride flag and the cowboy one. Something about it just resonates so much with people. And I love seeing the joy when people come up to my booth and will just be like I can see their faces just like, like, I have a cat that just looks just like that. Or like when they see the pride flag on, they're like, oh, like I have like a gay friend who would love this. Or like, oh, like my sister is lesbian and she'd love this. Like, now I have a lesbian pride flag. And just kind of being able to kind of show that representation and have people really resonate with it, or have it instantly be like, oh, I know someone who'd love this, and then get it for their friend. I love seeing that. And the cowboy one, it was just really fun to make. I remember when I do it on my iPad. I did not have a stylus for a very long time. I eventually got an Apple Pencil. Lost it after 6 months, so now I have a $20 knockoff. I have a $20 knockoff. It's not bad. But I would say at least 3/4 of my sticker drawings were done with my finger on an iPad.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Definitely had its aggravating moments, but it made me really appreciate it because like I would just like zoom in and like very painstaking redraw the same line with my finger like 6 times. Just like, oh, erase it a little, like, oh, I got it a little off, like do that and kind of just tweak it and play with it. But it's funny because something I love about the stickers, I either have the hit of inspiration or I don't at all. And that's when I go to crocheting or something else. But as soon as I have the ideas, like when I thought of the cowboy cat one, I first kind of looked it up to make sure there's no one like that has a really similar design. Like I do that for some, even though like I know mine are unique because it's literally based off of my cat doing weird stuff. But I'm like, I don't know, I kind of want to just see the waters, make sure I'm not like copying someone's stuff too close unintentionally. And there was really not much out there. And I'm like, there is a gap here. And same with the pride stuff. I'm like, there needs to be more cat pride themed stuff. And like, maybe there'll be an overarching one, but not with like specific pride flags or whatnot. So it was kind of like seeing that gap and then having the inspiration to work on it. And then seeing it kind of come to fruition as I'm drawing it. And then just, I don't know, like I get really excited when I'm done with the design because I'll kind of be stuck on thinking about the idea for a while, but as soon as I have the idea, I'll knock it out sometimes in like 30 minutes or an hour, just kind of perfect it. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I just like send it to all my friends and family. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. I'm like, I probably shouldn't just be sending it to people. I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to steal my idea if I'm just like send it to everyone. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. But then just kind of hear their feedback and then see it once I order it online and then have it come in and get actually made. Just, I don't know, something about holding what you made in your hand and just seeing it come to life and then see people love it. Really love that. And then just the cactus are super fun to make because that's another one where people will come up and be like, oh my God, these are so cute. Like I've never seen anything quite like this. I just love finding all the cute different cups and like they're just ridiculous. And I'm just like, let's just make a ridiculous plant and put it in here. And something satisfying. And then like when you take it, it kind of just looks like I had one.
It's a naked.
I had one that was darker and it was before I put a flower on it and it literally looked like a pickle. And I just got the biggest kick out of it. I'm like, I should make just like vegetables.
I like that.
It just looked like a pickle. And I'm like, okay, we're going to make this look like a cactus, not a pickle. It's basically a pickle. But
I like that.
So they just bring me joy. I'm just like, this is just really cute. Like I made this. This is adorable. And seeing how other people also relate to it and love it. That's the best part of it.
Of course,
That's really cute. As for my items, I have been collaborating with a couple of cafes. Some of them I cannot say because of contract. But it's been very fun working with them on what they envision with their brand as well as with my brand. So I help design. I give them suggestions. I give them drafts, and we come to an agreement. And they're planning to use it in their products or labels, which is super exciting.
It's really cool.
It's been really fun. And I do have one collaboration out with Giarn Cafe. I did a greeting card. I did 3 different greeting cards for them. A coffee cup one with their logo on it.
Oh, nice.
A bear one. It says, thank you, Berry.
Bear's so cute.
Matcha. the coffee cup one says, love you, a latte.
Oh, nice.
And that's available on my shop as well, just as a blank blue coffee cup. And I also made a yoga themed one for them since they do have a yoga studio as well. And those are fun to make, getting to know their businesses a little more and having that available for them. So that's been very fun. Another big initiative that I've been working on this year is to kind of establish my style and, again, my branding. I have this egg sticker and a bumblebee sticker. And I also have a peach sticker. And those 3 were my inspirational children that and those styles, the bold lines, pastel colors are what I want to stick with. For my brand. So I do want to perhaps revamp some of my old stickers. So there'll be a sale for those old stickers and new designs for new stickers as well. I'm also, again, wanting to dive into more tangible items such as like this enamel pin that I'm wearing. I'm diving into keychains as well. Again, big commitment, but I know that I have the confidence that we both like make really good stuff and might as well, take that next step and see where that goes, and try to bring it to people's eyes and show them what we can make. Yeah. And it's been really cool because people do come by and they say that they like my designs and that have I ever considered making pins, keychains, badge reels at some point.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And it's really cool hearing that kind of confirmation that people do like your designs. And that, like you, again, everyone has that imposter syndrome of, I just started.
Does this look good?
Does this look good?
Am I going to buy this?
My designs are so simple. Like, is this okay? But in reality, a lot of people have that in their mind. They have these ideas, but they don't take the action to do it. And as long as you have you take the initiative to put your idea out there, you're already like 10 steps ahead of a lot of people out there who just talk about it.
Taking the first jump and just ordering your first thing, like, yes, it's commit, but like you can still start small and just get like 3 different stickers and just whatever, like 50 of each, 20 of each. And I will say props to stickers. You really get an idea of what designs people like and then can turn them into things like pins. Like I'm sure you're probably taking like your most popular ones.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good like starting point as well with the stickers or whatever you're actually trying to do. And, if it doesn't work out the way that you thought it would, at least you learn like, this isn't the right direction or maybe this isn't for me. And you can take a pivot. And again, like you tried. A lot of people don't do it. They either don't get to or they're not able to. I understand that as well. But if you have the means to and you have the community and resources, I say why not? And just give it a shot.
Worst that happens, like, you fail, but you have fun doing it. So
exactly.
That's like even some of the bad events I've done. It's like, I had fun, got to hang out, meet some new people, like make friends with the booth next to you. Like,
and
we didn't make a ton, but we talked about it. You joke about it later, like I don't know.
Yeah, and you bond over
the bad event.
That's
true. Bond over like the rain.
Yes.
One question I had at the beginning, and I totally forgot to mention before we hit it out. Yeah, how did the two of you actually meet? Actually.
Oh my goodness!
I was trying to remember.
I thought it would come up, but then I was like,
trying to remember before we came because we definitely met online before in person.
I was driving across the Bay Bridge, and I thought, how did we meet?
It's been a long time, and what's really funny is we still have not had an event together, right?
Really?
We've gone to each other's events, and I've seen you at like the SJ Made.
I've seen her at her events.
Like Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
We messaged each other on Instagram. I remember this.
And then we were in a group chat together with some other vendor friends, and we had all met in like for dinner one night. Actually, were you?
I wasn't
there. You weren't there for that.
I think we met totally separately.
Totally
from all our other friends as well.
But we happen to have a lot of mutual vendor friends as well.
I remember us like we would send each other like funny memes, and like we both like cats. And since she has Bean, I get photos.
Yeah, and I had her. I think I had you come meet Bean. We've definitely met in person before. I think at like other people's events, because I don't know, sometimes like even if you're not vending an event because you're busy that day or whatever, we'll still visit each other at each other's events. So I'm pretty sure you would like come to one where I was at the park in San Jose, and I had come and seen you at a different one, and I think we like went to a cafe some other time and kind of just like,
and then we've like hung out outside like as friends too, which I think is like a beautiful thing when you meet other people who have the same interests and like same goals as you, which is something I definitely was looking for as I had, grown out, like graduated from college in the workforce for a few years. And then I was like, I don't have a lot of friends who are like me.
And also not just at your full-time job.
Exactly,
and kind of the more creative, artistic bond over stuff.
Yeah, and then I met Alecia and other folks like us as well who really value our career as well as our hobbies, and we're trying to make the most of both, which I really appreciate about you.
Definitely, we definitely like encourage each other, and like I don't know if either of us comes out with a new design or something, I don't know, hype each other up, be like, oh my god, like I love, like I think we had probably just both really liked each other's products also right off the bat, and just been like, oh my god, like your pin is so cute, which like someone saying your product is adorable, it's like of course we're gonna like I'm gonna like you, like that's a great way to start a conversation. So I also love having that community, and it's just, I mean, I work with all engineers, so I will say it's just a different crowd.
Exactly.
And not everyone's going to understand why you're syncing 3 hours every night after your job and making stickers and other stuff, and commit your weekends to driving somewhere, setting up a table, being somewhere for hours. But it's rewarding, and there's all the other stuff that goes along with that. But also being able to go to cafes, just hang out, talk about cats and just talk about life and whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Valuable.
Well, speaking of that, before we head out, did you have any plugs or shout outs that you want to give out to other friends?
Oh my, there are just so many of them. There are so many of them. I do want to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine who I met at my very first Windy pop-up event. Mm-hmm. Her handle, I believe, is CA Press Botanicals.
Okay.
And she had introduced me to the vendor world, the markets, and I think without her, I wouldn't have found out about all these different organizations and events. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we had seen each other at the same event 1 year later, and we reconnected. Oh, nice. So definitely want to thank her for bringing me into this world and getting me started.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. To add to that, one of my close friends from the beginning, I had mentioned earlier, Tibby Bean, and she also has a black cat, so we bonded over that, and just makes the cutest frog figurines and everything else out of clay, all hand sculpted and painted. They're incredible, and one of the first things I bought from her was it's a little frog on a snail holding a strawberry, and it's just ridiculously cute.
That's so funny.
Cute. But we shared a few booths together at events because we found we have a very similar overlap of audience. The frog and the cat community have a tiny overlap. We have a similar audience. And then one of my other closest friends, her name's also Jasmine, which we're all mutual friends. So Jasmine, the naughty corgi. So it's Knotty. She makes beautiful macrame and hosts some workshops. And has been doing some stickers. She's a really cute corgi named Kaya. So some of her stuff's based on her corgi, who I love. Yeah. I'd love the corgi and Bean to meet, but I don't think they'd want to. But just another one of those where it's we'll meet up outside of events also, just kind of share life, encourage each other. Just before this, I was sending her some of my t-shirt designs to get her input, and she sends some input over to me and vice versa and asks for my input. And it's just great being able to do events together. We had both done that pop-up in San Jose at the shop together, and just, I don't know, share life, share shop stuff. Definitely. A bit of a mix of everything.
Yeah. I would also like to mention another person, the person who helped me with my broken board.
Oh, right, yes. Of course, going back to that. Yeah.
Bless their heart. Her handle is @HomieSF.
Oh, yes.
It's so funny. We both met, and you may be watching this now. We both met. We were boothing across from each other at an event. And it was a 2-day event. We didn't meet until the second day. The very end, I introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, just want to say hi, and hope we see each other again." And we just vibed, when you
should have did that the first day.
Right? It was just the nerves were there. It was busy, and then we connected. And coincidentally, she lives in San Francisco as well.
Nice.
And when I moved, she and her boyfriend were so helpful, offering help. And when we were at Anime Expo, she was my booth neighbor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she had offered, they had both offered to help repair my stand. And also I was missing some packaging materials 1 week. And this was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And since she's nearby, she dropped off some materials. Awesome. It's so thoughtful. And I know that she's really helpful and really awesome to our other vendor friends too. So shout out to her as well.
Awesome.
Last shout out, just squeeze in one more.
Of course.
My friend Genevieve, at Genevieve Inspired. She makes beautiful paintings. She moved to the Bay kind of recently.
Oh, nice.
But we had met there's this new gallery that had opened up in Newark, the Collab Factory. Super cool spot, really cool people running it.
Yeah.
And we had both done a pop-up there. And it was just so funny because she was set up next to me. And she makes paintings, and she had never really done in-person events. So I have my table, my booth, and she's just standing there with 3 paintings on the wall. She's like, I should probably have printed stuff out, business cards. But she still had tons of people come talk. It was kind of just to get the name out there. And then we kind of just clicked, which she didn't even have a chair or anything. So we were just had a great time and kind of just hung out. People could kind of bring drinks in, food, come and go. It was a really cool event. And kind of just hit it off at that, and then I got to meet her cat. She's come and met Bean, really like hanging out with her and her husband. So just, I don't know, another one where it's like support each other in both the art community and life and just enjoy each other as people. So it's really nice making those connections. And some of the best ways it's, when you're at a pop-up and sometimes there's gaps in people coming by and you just chat for a while, or like maybe you'll get someone come by and like buy a lot and then they'll be like, oh, like that was awesome. Like, good job. Like, congrats.
Right.
Stuff like that where you're kind of supporting each other live in the event and then just kind of chat afterwards about it. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, definitely want to do a cheers to not only both of your successes so far, but to also the community and the future that we're
indeed
going forward.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Well, thank you so much again. And thank you so much for taking the time. And again, congrats. And I wish you both nothing but the best with your future endeavors and events as well.
Thank you so much. For having us.
No worries.
Yes.
Awesome. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and other social platforms to catch new episodes and updates. Want to learn more about the items and music featured in this episode? Links available in the episode description. Thanks again for listening, and take care.